Welcome, Arithmetic Ninjas, to some subtraction sums where borrowing is required. Now, we must be careful to only borrow if we absolutely need to. There's a famous phrase that says, if there's more on the floor, borrow from next door. So, more on the floor, borrow from next door. And we'll see what that means in a moment. So 5,447, here we go, 5447, subtract 679. Now let's see where this takes us. So 7 take away 9 we can't do, so we need to borrow, and there's more on the floor. More on the floor means the number on the bottom is bigger than the number on the top, so that 9 is bigger than the 7. The 9 is more than the 7. More on the floor, so borrow from next door. So we borrow from the 4, and that becomes a 3, and the one that we've borrowed makes the 7 17. 17 take away 9 is 8. 3 subtract 7 you can't do, more on the floor, 7 is more than 3, so borrow from next door. Borrow from the 4th, that becomes a 3, and the one that you borrowed makes the 3 into 13. Now you can carry on. 13 take away 7 is 6. 3 take away 6 we can't do, there's more on the floor again, then 6 is more than 3, so we need to borrow from next door. Borrow from the 5, that becomes a 4, and the one we borrowed makes 3 into 13. Now we can carry on. 13 take away 6 is 7, and 4 take away nothing, there's a gap here, so that's a nothing. 4 take away nothing is 4. Final answer, 4,768. Don't forget to put your comma in, 3 digits from the end. 1, 2, 3, comma. Okay, second question, number 2. 4,792 take away 398. Again, there's going to be more borrowing going on here. Here we go. 2 subtract 8, more on the floor, borrow from next door. Then borrow from the 9, that becomes an 8, and the one you borrowed makes the 2 into 12. 12 take away 8 is 4. 8 take away 9 we can't do. More on the floor, borrow from next door. Borrow from the 7, it becomes a 6, and the one you borrowed makes the 8 into 18. 18 take away 9 is 9, 6 take away 3 is 3, and 4 take away nothing, there's nothing there, so fill in a 0. 4 take away nothing is 4. Final answer, 4,394. Question 11. 5,577 take away 939. 7 take away 9, there's more on the floor, so borrow from next door. Borrow from the 7, that becomes a 6. The one you borrowed makes a 7 17. 17 take away 9 is 8. 6 take away 3, now we can do that, so be careful, only borrow when you need to. We don't need to borrow there, because there's not more on the floor, there's more up top. 6 take away 3 is 3. 5 take away 9, we need to borrow. More on the floor, borrow from next door. Borrow from the 5 becomes a 4. The one we've borrowed makes the 5 into 15. 15 take away 9 is 6. And 4 take away nothing is 4. 4,638. Question number 14. 4,903. Subtract 555. Let's have a go at that one. 3 subtract 5 we can't do. Borrow from next door, but we've got a problem. You can't borrow from this 0 because there's nothing there to borrow from. So you have to go to the next column. Borrow from the 9, that becomes an 8. The one you borrowed makes the 0 into 10. But we've still got a problem. We still can't do, in the end column, 3 take away 5. We still can't do it. So now we have to borrow from the 10. Cross out the 10, and the 10 becomes a 9. And the one we've borrowed makes the 3 into 13. So we've had to borrow across 2 columns this time. 13 take away 5 is 8. 9 take away 5 is 4. 8 take away 5 is 3. And 4 take away this 0 here is 4. Final answer to that one, 4,348. 4,348. Last question. 14,007. So 14,000, and 7 take away 6,668. Now there's going to be some problems here because we've got some zeros on the top. So we may have to borrow across a few columns. 7 take away 8 we can't do. More on the floor, borrow from next door. Well, you can't borrow from this 0 because there's nothing there, so you go next door. But next door is also a 0. You can't borrow from there, so you go next door again. Borrow from this 4. Borrow from the 4, that becomes 3. And the one you've borrowed makes the next 0 into 10. Borrow from that 10, and that becomes a 9. And the one you borrowed makes this 0 into 10. Borrow from that 10, and that becomes a 9, and that makes the 7 into 17. Now we can carry on. 17 take away 8 is 9. 9 take away 6 is 3. 9 take away 6 is 3. 3 take away 6 we can't do. There's more on the floor. Borrow from next door. Cross out the 1 and that becomes a 0. And the 3 becomes 13. 13 take away 6 is 7. 0 take away nothing. There's an empty gap there is nothing. So we don't really need to put a nothing on the front of our answer. So the final answer is 7,339. Now we've tried questions 1, 2, 11, 14 and 21. Now it's time for you to try the rest. Good luck.